So the Playhouse with Wyre continues. If you're just joining us, this is episode 2. Make sure you catch episode 1 just to hear the history. Okay, so Wyre, take it from Ted Josiah. Now you join Audio Vault.
Yeah, so I joined Audio Vault as an intern. Around 2000. Around 2000, there was a competition, a joint, a collaborated effort between Audio Vault and Capital FM, and that's when 3 winners came out of it. There was Nameless. In fact, I remember listening to the radio, and Nameless called in and he started flowing the Mega Radar song.
Yep.
So I remember Nameless won. I remember Kaz won, and then there was a guy called Morani, an R&B artist. Morani. Yeah.
Do you know I later on did a collab with Morani?
Yeah, man.
That's where he came from, this competition.
Yeah, he did. And just around the same time is when I had just recorded my first single for release called Sikiza.
I know, you have to taste that. That thing was too hot.
Sikiza, yeah, man. And I remember recording Sikiza, and that's when these kind of drum patterns, like Timbaland drum patterns came out, had just come out, and and we recorded Sikiza. Sikiza ni kueleze mimi mambo yaliyonilete adiki kila unapozungumza nami mambo yanayohusu si wawili si lazima uambie marafiki shida zinazotupata sisi mambo yanayotuhusu si asiri na mbona we wataka kwende hivi Sikiza nakwambia marafiki wanaotuingilia nia yao ni ya kututenganisha usiache waje kutuharibia Sikiza nakwambia marafiki wanaotuingilia nia yao ni ya kututenganisha usiache waje kutuharibia jana uliniambia we mwenyewe. And I remember Ted asking me, can you rap? I was like, me? Like, listen, like, dude, I heard your demo. It was a combination of R&B and like a Bone Thuggish thing. Like snowish, whatever, dancehall infused thing. So can you rap? I was like, I can try. So he's like, okay, do for me a twister kind of thing. I'm like, man, this guy wants me to rap, man. But yo, you know, dude, when the biggest producer in the country tells you, listen, we want you to rap, you will rap, my friend. Yeah, so I did. And my first single was Sikiza. I remember the first time I had my single on radio, I was at home, and Ted told me, tune into Capital. I'm like, okay. Dennis Ndavi was doing a Friday show called the East African Chart Show or something. And he gave Ted a call on air and he was like, hey, what's up, Nini? I hear you got some new music for us. I was like, yeah. So Ted he did this grand intro, like, hey, what's up, East Africa? Here's Kenya's bad boy of R&B, Waire, with his new single, Sikiza. And then my single dropped. I did cartwheels in the house, my friend. What? I flipped.
That's insane.
Let me tell you, this is the best feeling in the world. Hearing your song on radio for the first time. And there was not too many FM stations back then. I think there were like maybe 3 or 4 major stations. There was Capital FM, there was Metro.
And KBC.
Yep. In fact, guys, we're still listening to AM and SW. There's no FM. So FM station was like 2 or 3.
This is like 2000, huh?
Yeah, this was about 2000. Yeah, man. So for me, I was ecstatic because I remember I started doing a couple of shows.
What is the response? What are the response from?
It was amazing. It was amazing. I got a lot of calls on my landline. There were no cell phones back then. So guys were calling me like, Chief, man, we just had your song, man. Congrats, you know.
Yeah.
So like, I think that same month is when, Nameless Kaz and Morani had just won there.
And they all recorded with Ted Josiah.
They all did.
So a lot of people don't know that Mega Rider, Nameless's first song.
Yeah, it was recorded by Ted, it was produced by Ted.
Yeah.
So that's where we got to meet with all these artists, man. And we used to meet up there and interact a lot.
So let me ask you just a question before you even move on. Huh? So what were you doing at Ted's? People know Wyre, the singer. So what did your internship involve?
Production, basically, from scratch. He trained me in audio production and studio engineering. I remember one of my first major. Ted left me with a client at the studio, and we were producing a commercial. So conveniently, that day, Ted decides he's not going to be in the office. I'm here with client, I'm panicking, I'm sweating. Client say, okay, so I want this done, I want this done. I'm like, okay. So you know when you're looking at the console and everything, you know these two buttons look like they're all they're just moving around and laughing at you, ha ha. That's how I felt, man. But so I'm trying to call Ted, man, yo, listen, man, you know where you. But funny enough, I managed, and I think I used like I was recording stuff on an ADAT machine. Now, if you know what an ADAT machine looks like, man,
the production may take a far.
I'm telling you, I think I got my skills. There he was at me. But I mean, it taught me a lot, man. In fact, during my production stint, I really worked with a lot of artists. I produced for quite a number of guys, from Achenga Bura to Gidi Gidi Maji Maji to Alahola, Kenyana, Prezo, even Red Sun.
Wait, do it, Banna. You can't rush over those things like that. So, Prezo was my neighbor, and we lived on that road of Dennis Prit.
Oh yeah.
Now, Prezo gave me, when he went to Canada, he gave me a song. And the name of the song was Mama Malaika.
Yes.
Was that
Malaika Mama?
Yeah, Malaika Mama, sorry. Featuring you.
Yeah.
Are you the one who produced that song?
It's one of the songs I produced, yeah.
Again, I was interviewing, before you I interviewed Nanoma. I mean, not Nanoma, I interviewed Eric Musioka. Yeah, who was in the group Nanoma. And he said you produced for them.
There was a song called Tafadali. And before that, there was still like one or two others I did.
That's
man.
That's insane. And then again, when I became a musician, there was a song by Cheesy on his album, Suluwe.
Yes.
Narudi. That you also produced.
Yes, I produced that as well.
Which other artists would I say? Are you still in production right now?
Yeah, but I do more of creative direction right now.
Okay.
But when I'm so touched once in a while, I will sit down and try and fool around.
So for those of you who don't know, Waire used to be a producer and still is a producer / creative director. Okay, so let's go on with the story. So now you guys are in this audio vault.
Yes.
And musicians, you guys are the #1 stable in Eastern Africa at the time.
Powerhouse, man, that time.
Yeah, tell us about those days. And then now, of course, move it into Necessary Noise.
Right about the same time, Ted was working on a project called Kenyan the Second Chapter, and that now had quite a lineup of artists. It had Warogi Wawili, it had Gidi Gidi Maji Maji. Darling P was on it, and Nikki was on it, David Ohengo. Who else? It was quite a lineup, man.
And Nazizi.
So that's how I got to meet Nazizi, because we were recording in the same studio. And so we met up with her at some point. I remember we were doing a show with her at some point, I think at the Village Market or something. So we got to talking and we were like, yo, you know what, I like your sound. And she's like, yeah, I like your sound too, that vibe. Why don't we see if we can do a project together? So we went back to studio and we talked to Ted and like, yo, we'd like to work on something together, me and Nas. So we started jamming on a song. Started vibing. Now, after starting to record the song, around the same time, there's an artist who used to come around to the studio. And he had really liked Ted's production, and he was really trying to get a deal there as well. He was like, okay, you know what, there's a song we're doing with Noize and Wyre, and we'd like to see maybe if you'd like to jump on it. And that's how we met K-Rapt.
K-Rapt?
Yep.
Oh, what? I thought you were going to say Mamzigi. No. K-Rapt.
That's how we met K-Rapt.
So you guys did a song?
Me, Noize, and
K-Rapt.
Yeah.
Was the song ever released?
No, it was never released. But we recorded it, and we started. We had even started. I remember us doing rehearsal sessions of how we're going to perform it at Naz's place in Hurlingham. So yeah, the first song we ever recorded as a unit was Noize, myself, and K-Rapt. What? Yeah. The hook was like K-R-U-P-T, Noize na Waire, tuki dance munakatika. Like, it was some crazy thing.
So what happened, man?
We recorded the song, but we never got to release it. Because one thing, Ted was very careful about his releases. He was very experimental. He was like, you know, does it sound right? Does we have the right sound? Nini. So we had that song for some time, but we never got to release it. Man, it was quite a memory, huh?
Dude, which other did you meet Issa? Because I had Issa. There's a story that
I'll get into that.
Oh, man, this
I'll get into that.
Pace. Okay, so what happens now?
So we started rehearsing Nini, but knowing Ted, at the point that he was at in his career, he wasn't quick to release anything too fast. You know what I mean? He'd like to take his time. Because he was a trendsetter. Mm-hmm. Ted was a trendsetter. That's one thing I got from him, and I learned from him. Never be too quick to release something just for the sake. If you want something that will make an impact that will last, don't be too quick to release.
While you wait, what are you listening for? You get, while the song is in the studio finished, but you're not releasing, what are you waiting for?
In terms of, let's say, mixing, it's always good to listen to your song after mixing, maybe like a day after or the morning after, because your ears tend to get tired. So you could be cheating yourself that I have a good mix here. When you come back the next one, you're like, what? What was I thinking? Kind of thing. He was very particular about his mixing and mastering. I remember once when we were doing the master for Unvogable, the mix and master. He's worked on it, plugins, compressors, and everything. Is like, dude, I think we have it. I'm like, dude, man. I'm like, Chief, I think we got it, man. Yeah, so you know. Fist pump, Nini. He's like, you know what? Please get for me the Michael's Invincible album. So I went upstairs to get it, and Ted was a collector. He always used to collect albums. So, and you know who produced that? LoveChild. Mm-hmm. We played the intro. Just the intro. Ted stood up. He told me switch off the studio. He went back up. We had worked on that master for like 3 days. He's like, we've done nothing. Did you hear that?
That is crazy.
That's how much of a perfectionist he was.
No, but I love the fact that he compared his mixes and masters to international artists.
Yeah.
So the sound quality would sound the same.
Yeah, and he wouldn't settle for less at all. So yeah. Anyway, I'm digressed. Back to that. The song with Naz and K-Rapt. So after a couple of days of listening to that and weeks, Ted was like, no. Let's experiment. So that's when we started fooling around with another song. And what happened is he started working on the beat for Clang Clang. We're jamming and we're rocking and we're causing mayhem. In the Nairobi city, that one. So I voiced my part and Nas did her part. And Ted kept on saying, we need like an English rapper. I need an English rapper on this song. So Nas was like, you know what, there's this guy I grew up with, he's called Bamzigi. And maybe should I bring him to the studio, maybe see what he can do. So he came to the studio, I think like a day or two later, and he flowed for Ted, and Ted was like, I like that sound. And that's how we finished recording Clang Clang.
All you fake MCs is just our rhymes is hot and yours is just fake stars, but your lives is just so what? All you fake MCs is just our rhymes is hot and yours is just fake stars, but your lives is just so what? I diss you, I diss you, I diss you, I chase. You can't catch up with me pace. Come on, boy, now get out of me face. Cause clang clang, gal, now that's how you a taste me a heart like a...
And that was our first single as Necessary Noise.
Wow.
Clang Clang. Which played on Capital FM for the first time and
shut the place down.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. It was a mix of reggae and hip hop that hadn't happened, man. And we were very experimental back then. You know what I mean? We were hungry for it. And there was a lot of mixed reactions. Some guys were like, man, who are these guys trying to sound Jamaican or foreign, man? But us, we didn't care, man. Us, we were hungry for the music, man. We wanted to be heard, you know what I mean? And we wanted to sound different. So shortly after, we started recording more songs. The second song we recorded was called Lovers Rock.
Yeah, you're taking me back.
We promise at the altar, I will say I do. It was crazy.
Me promise at the altar, I will say I do. Even though the bridesmaids is looking kinda tempting, this is how we do with the art of our crew. Look into his eye, realize you don't resent him. Promise at the altar, I will say I do. Even though the bridesmaids is looking kinda tempting, this is how we do with the art of our crew. Look into his eye, I realize.
Me no want to tell you how me really feel with that deceit. If you can't believe you want me, say me happy, just repeat. Every minute that you passing me happy, feel the heat. Let me happy going crazy, cause me heart just keep a beat. Won't you come with me to the river of love? There you'll find what you're searching for. Destiny's knocking at my door. If it's really you, then I won't ignore. Complete is away.
Then we recorded Shuja.
Wananchi msingezukika.
Wangapi wanaweza kujiita? Ni nani anayedhani ana uwezo wako wapi na ustahili hilo tina? Tunataka mashujaa peke yao. Wangapi wanaweza kujiita? Ni nani anayedhani ana uwezo wako wapi na ustahili hilo tina? Tunataka mashujaa peke yao.
So those were the first 3 songs that we ever recorded as Necessary Noise. Shuja was fully hip hop.
Yeah.
So they made me rap again. And Shuja. Yeah, but we went hard on that. Now with those 3 songs starting to get rotation on radio, it started generating some interest. We started doing some shows. And around the same time as when Safaricom was just launching in Kenya. So
this 2001, 2?
2001.
Or 2000?
2001.
Okay, 2001, yeah.
2001. So Safaricom was just starting to launch in the country, and if I'm not wrong, I think Audio Vault was doing some of the events for them in terms of marketing events and stuff. So we didn't. We started doing a couple of shows in regards to the launch, some road shows here and there. So we did the first show, I remember, was at Nakumatt, UK. And they'd set up a truck and we started performing. We got on, Nas did Mama Mama, Mama, nataka kuwa hapa. I get on, I do Skiza, then together now we get on and do the clang. So we were in the van going to the next venue, and David Moredi was now our manager at the time. And he was like, guys, listen, we're going to the next show, and I'm not going to introduce you as Wyre and Nazizi and Bamzigi. I can't, it's too long. So get a name. So we're like, okay guys, we need a name before the next we need a name before the next show. I'm like, really? Okay. So we're brainstorming. So thinking letters BWN, no, nah, too corny. And is it this, that? So we thought. Then at some point, Naz was like, Necessary Noize.
Yeah. That's insane.
So we all kept quiet. They're like, what did you say? Yeah, necessary. And I was like, that's it. Bam's like, that's it. Because it made sense.
Yeah.
You put 3 artists on one song with different styles, you normally get noise if you haven't worked together before. But in our case, it was necessary because we gelled so well. So it made sense.
What?
So by the time on stage, we told David the name, like Necessary Noize, like that's it, perfect. And that's how Necessary Noize was born, man.